In this video, we will be servicing the lubrication system in this 2018 Volkswagen Atlas. Through the driver's side door, we can locate our hood release latch. And after releasing our secondary safety latch, we can gain access to the engine bay. Taking a look inside the engine bay, we want to locate our oil fill location as well as our oil dipstick. Now the oil dipstick we are not able to see from this vantage point. And if we change our view, we can see that yellow ring for our oil dipstick, as well as that oil fill location we previously identified. To prep this vehicle, I have installed rhino ramps on the front tires. I have wheel chocks on the rear tires. I have 2 safety stands just in case the rhino ramps fail, and I've engaged the parking brake. Taking a look underneath the vehicle from the front, we have a skid plate that is covering our access to the filter and drain plug. The skid plate has a series of Phillips head screws. We are going to work around removing each of the screws so we can lower the skid plate. And then we can slide that out of the way. Taking a look from the front of the vehicle, up underneath, we do have clear access to our oil filter housing. We can also see where that drain plug is located at. And a little bit closer on that filter, we can clearly see that housing. And if we come in behind the passenger side front tire, we can have a much clearer view of that drain plug. You will want a drip pan underneath. To help the oil flow a little bit easier, I'm going to pull out the dipstick just a little bit. Using a 19mm socket, we can remove the drain plug. If the oil is a little bit warm, it will flow a lot easier. So a lot of times I like to idle the vehicle for about 5 or 10 minutes prior to doing this service, then turn off the vehicle and drain the oil. It will allow that oil to drain a little bit easier. However, the oil will be hot. And with the oil drained out, we can reinstall the oil drain plug, making sure that we have that crush washer on there as well. You will want to start this bolt by hand, and it will end up getting torqued to 22 foot-pounds. We can then shift our focus to the oil filter housing. After moving our drip pan, we can use a 1 7/16 socket, although I believe the actual one is 36mm, but this was the only one that I had. And we can continue to unscrew that. Now this will release the oil that is stored inside of it, so you do need to be aware of that. And if that filter doesn't come out with the housing, we can pull that out gently. And with our old filter removed, we can compare it with our new filter. This is a WIX 57462, and it does come with a gasket. So we can remove the gasket from our old housing. And prior to installing my new gasket, I am going to coat it in oil. And work that into place. I can then seat that new filter in, and we can hear it click. And I'm going to do just a little bit of oil on this top O-ring as well. Prior to installing this, I do like to do a visual inspection of the filter housing just to make sure everything looks good. This one looks good. And you will want to thread that on by hand first and then snug it down with our socket. And the torque spec on this is 25 Newton meters. And at this point, with the filter changed and all of the oil drained out and the drain plug reinstalled, we can reinstall the skid plate. This particular vehicle calls for 0W30. Now, according to the manufacturer, this takes 5.8 quarts, and it specifically calls for the VW50200 certification. So we will be using Valvoline Full Synthetic European 0W30. If we zoom in on the bottle, this does have our VW50200 certification. So this is the correct oil that the manufacturer specifies. Inside the engine, we want to locate our oil fill location and remove the cap and install our funnel. We're going to begin by adding 5.5 quarts. This does take right at about 6 quarts. So I'm going to underfill it by 1/2 quart. So right there I'm at 5.5 quarts. And I can recap that. And I'll also make sure my dipstick is pushed down. And with 5.5 quarts of oil installed in the vehicle, my oil fill cap is on, my dipstick is in, I've replaced the filter, my drain plug is in. I'm going to remove the wheel chocks, safety stands, take the parking brake off, and back the vehicle off of the rhino ramps. This will allow the engine to run for a little bit of time and get the oil flowing inside of the engine. Now again, I am 1/2 quart lower than what it calls for. When we withdraw the dipstick the first time, we want to clean off the dipstick. We are then going to reinstall it into the engine, withdraw it again, and then take our reading. And if we take a look at our oil level, we can see that we are a bit low. Ideally, we want to have our level within the hatch pattern range. Now, given that we were pretty low on the dipstick, we are going to add the additional 1/2 quart of oil. We will test it again, and our objective is to get in the middle of the hatch pattern. That is the ideal zone that we want our oil level to be at. So we'll add a little bit, we'll test it, we'll add a little bit more if necessary, and test it again. And we're going to check that oil level again. Now, it is recommended that you let the engine sit for a couple minutes just to let it drain back down. But then we can take our reading. And this time we are sitting right in the middle of that hatch pattern. This is where we want to be, and this service is complete.